Hello, all. Welcome to a lecture session on fluid mechanics and fluid and turbo machinery. So, we are into the concept of fluid kinematics. Today, we are going to learn the concept of fluid kinematics, the area which is always considered as the important area in fluid mechanics. So, basically, in this lecture series, we are considering the various concepts related to fluid mechanics and fluid turbo machinery. Out of that, we are started to learn the fluid mechanics theories, and in that now we are up to fluid kinematics. So I welcome you all to this lecture session. My name is Saman Wani. I am assistant professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering in Padma Bhushan Vasantarao Dada Patil Institute of Technology, Budgao. So, in this fluid kinematics theory, we are also going to see the what are the areas in which the fluid kinematics is working. What are the various considerations in fluid kinematics, or what are the various particular concepts related to kinematics? Up till now we know the various basics of fluids, then properties of fluids, various problems based on fluids. Then there are the basic theories like center of pressure, then total pressure, buoyancy, metacentric height, etc. We have completed, and now we are exactly entering into the fluid mechanics theories, where we had initially defined that this fluid mechanics is the composite of various types of areas like fluid kinetics, fluid kinematics, fluid statics, fluid dynamics, etc. So, in that, after fluid statics, now we are going to see the fluid kinematics. So, in this particular lecture, also I have to just inform to all that please kindly subscribe our YouTube channel for receiving more and more videos and notifications related to our lecture series, so that it will be helpful for all of you to understand the various lectures a very easy manner. So going to our first slide, where the fluid kinematics introduction is there. So here the fluid kinematics can be defined as it is a branch of fluid mechanics. So we know this, that it is a branch of fluid mechanics which deals with the study of velocity and acceleration of the fluid particles of fluids in motion and their distribution in space without considering any force or energy involved. So what is the meaning of kinematics, guys? Here is fluid kinematics is nothing but the study of the velocity and acceleration of fluid particles. Means when in this condition, first representation is that the fluid is flowing. Now after the fluid is flowing, we have to consider that what are the motions causing the fluid flow. So that we are going to consider in fluid kinematics, but we are not considering any force, because if we consider force, then that fluid kinematics will be converted into fluid dynamics. So therefore, while considering this fluid kinematics, the definition is in such a way that actually the fluid kinematics will be the branch of the or the study which deals with study of the kinematics of fluids when it is in motion and their distribution in space without considering any force. So, the motion of a fluid can be described fully by an expression describing the location of fluid particle in space at different types, thus enabling determination of the magnitude and direction of velocity and acceleration in the flow field at any distance of or any instant of time. So the meaning of this sentence is that while finding out the actual motion of the velocity and acceleration of the fluid particles, we are going to see that what is the magnitude and what is the direction of that particular fluid particles. That also we are going to consider. So the in this actual fluid kinematics, we are going to consider these particular values. So now, description of fluid motion. The motion of fluid particles may be described by two following methods. That is, first is Lagrangian method and second is Eulerian method. So these two methods are there which are going to help us for finding out the motion of these fluid particles, like velocity and acceleration. Then going for the first theory, that is Lagrangian method. In this method, the observer concentrates on the movement of a single particle. The path taken by the particle and the changes in its velocity and acceleration are studied. So see guys, that this Lagrangian approach is only considered with the movement of a single particle. So we can consider a single particle like particle A, which is entering in the particular pipe, and at the end when it is coming out, so during its motion from point particle from A, that is from inlet to outlet of the pipe, how much distance and how much magnitude or how much directions it has been changed, that also we can find out with this particular method. So in the Cartesian system is the xyz space coordinates, the position of fluid particle in space, that is xyz, at any time t from its position ABC at time t equal to 0 will be given as, so this is the equation. See that in the Cartesian coordinate system, with the help of this Lagrangian approach method, x will be equal to f1 a b c t, y will be equal to f2, that is second function a b c t, and z will be equal to the third function a b c t. So in this consideration, in Lagrangian approach, the Cartesian system is totally considered, and therefore these x y z space coordinates will be considered at time t, and the position will be a b c of that particular fluid particles. The velocity and acceleration components obtained by taking derivatives with respect to time are given below. Now see, if we have to find the actual velocity and acceleration of this particular components like x, y, z, then this x, y, z is nothing but the positions. So we know that if we differentiate these displacement quantities with respect to time, we get a velocity. So here you will get, if u is the velocity in x direction, so u will be equal to dA by x by dA by t. V is the velocity in y direction, so v equal to dA by y by dA by t, and w is the velocity in z direction, so w is equal to dA by z by dA by t. Now secondly, if we have to calculate acceleration, so we know that acceleration is nothing but differentiation of velocity. So therefore ax, that is acceleration in x direction, will be given as dA by square x divided by dA by t square. Ay will be equal to, that is acceleration in y direction, dA by square y by dA by t square, and az, acceleration in z direction, will be equal to dA by square z by dA by t square. So this is displacement. When it is differentiated, we get velocity. Velocity when it is differentiated, we get as acceleration. Now at any point, the resultant velocity or acceleration shall be the resultant of three components respective quantity at that point. So therefore resultant velocity v will be equal to under root u square plus v square plus w square, and acceleration a will be equal to under root ax square plus ay square plus az square. It is a similar and a simple way in which the Lagrangian approach is working. So therefore, for finding out this velocity and acceleration, we require to first differentiate the velocity with respect to time, then differentiate that particular velocity value for finding out acceleration, and then this, with the help of these two formulas, we can find out the resultant acceleration and velocity. Now similarly, other quantities also can be found out like pressure, density, etc. This method is also actually it is having the various advantages when it is overcoming this type of shortcomings, that is cumbersome and complex. The equations of motion are very difficult to solve and the motion is hard to understand. Now secondly, Eulerian method. Now in this lecture, we are going to find out that these two methods, that is Lagrangian approach and Eulerian approach, and then we are going to take into consideration the various types of fluid flows. So in Eulerian method, the observer concentrates on a point in the fluid system. Velocity, acceleration and other characteristics of the fluid at that particular point are studied. This method is most exclusively used in fluid mechanics, especially because of its mathematical simplicity. In fluid mechanics, we are not concerned with the motion of each particle, but we study the general state of motion at various points in the fluid systems. The velocities at any point x, y, z can be written as, now see, the velocity equation is in this way. U will be equal to f1 x, y, z, t. V will be equal to f2 x, y, z, t, and w will be equal to f3 x, y, z, t. So the directions are given in Cartesian coordinate system as x, y, z. Velocities are given at u, v, w with respect to time. So if you have to calculate it in terms of this Eulerian method, the components of acceleration of the fluid particle can be worked out by partial differentiation as follows. So we are using this partial differentiation, chain differentiation rule here. So for finding out the value of u, we are finding out the acceleration as du. So du will be equal to dA by u by dA by x of dx plus dA by u by dA by y of dy plus dA by u by dA by z of dz plus with respect to t will be there. So therefore dA by u by dA by t of dt. Because in last equation we have seen that u is a function of x, y, z and t. So with respect to x, y, z, t, we are getting this equation. Now there is a case that if we have to differentiate directly this, we have to differentiate with respect to time, so that we will get this acceleration ax. So this acceleration ax can be found out like directly. We can see that with the respect to time, that is dA by u by dA by t will be equal to, now see guys, here dA by u by dA by x is kept as it is, dx by dt, because we have to find out with respect to time, plus dA by u by dA by y as it is, dy by dt, similarly plus dA by u by dA by z, dz by dt, plus outside the bracket dA by u by dA by t, dt by dt, which will be 1. So for finding out this particular quantity, we have to replace this dx by dt, dy by dt and dz by dt with some certain values. Now guys, we know that this x is nothing but displacement. It is very easy. Displacement with respect to time, we get velocity. So we can replace this dx by dt as u, because displacement in x direction with respect to time is u. Displacement in y direction with respect to time is v, and displacement in z direction with respect to time is w. So we can replace this dx by dt, dy by dt and dz by dt as u, v, w. So after replacing this, what we get is ax is equal to du by dt, which will be equal to now u dA by u by dA by x plus v dA by u by dA by y plus w dA by u by dA by z plus dA by u by dA by t. Now guys, see that this is the general equation which we have got. So for eliminating the large number of calculations, we are directly assuming that as compared to this ax, this ay will be same. Ax was du by dt, so ay will be equal to dv by dt. What will be changes here in this equation? DA by u will be replaced by dA by v. So here dA by v by dA by x u plus dA by v by dA by y of v plus dA by v by dA by z of w plus dA by v by dA by t. Similarly for az, dw by dt equal to dA by w by dA by x u plus dA by w by dA by y v plus dA by w by dA by z of w plus dA by w by dA by t. This is the equation for the Eulerian method for accelerations. Now you can see here that resultant velocity will be same, v equal to under root u square plus v square plus w square, and resultant acceleration also will be a equal to under root ax square plus ay square plus az square. Now in this equation, we are having a velocity vector as v equal to ui plus vj plus wk. Because if we evaluate this vector, we will get this equation, that is under root u square plus v square plus w square. And for acceleration vector, we get small a is equal to, we have to just differentiate this velocity so that we get acceleration. So dv by dt equal to u dA by v by dA by x plus v dA by v by dA by y plus w dA by v by dA by z plus dA by v by dA by t. So a will be again equal to axi plus ayj plus azk. And therefore we get this in vector quantities as v equal to under root u square plus v square plus w square, and a will be equal to ax square plus ay square plus az square. So after this Eulerian method, the final equation is just derived in terms of a general function of space and time. So v is a function of x, y, z and t. So therefore, or v will be equal to function of s and t. Now what is guys this s? S is nothing but displacement. Displacement in x direction, displacement in y direction, displacement in z direction, that is space coordinates. So the acceleration a will be dA by v by dA by t, or in this now whole differentiation dv by dt equal to dA by v by dA by s ds by dt plus dA by v by dA by t. And therefore we get final equation as a equal to v dA by v by dA by s plus dA by v by dA by t. That is the final equation for the acceleration quantities. Now when we are learning these two methods, in next lectures we are going to see the various types of problems based on this Lagrangian method and Eulerian method. So with the help of these two formulas, it is very easy for us to find out the acceleration and velocity, or velocity and acceleration of these fluid particles whenever they are in motion. So after that, we are going to go for a new concept, that is types of fluid flows. Now guys, before going to the types of fluids flow, I will define this fluid flow. What is generally a fluid flow? So guys, see, the fluid flow is nothing but the movement of a fluid particle from one point to another. Let it be in any direction. Let it be parallel, let it be perpendicular, let it be diagonal or anything. The fluid, the particles of fluid, when they are flowing from one point to another, we say that the fluid flow is occurring. Because there will be various types of flows. There will be, in terms of direction, you can say it is a horizontal flow, it is a vertical flow, it is a diagonal flow, it is a upward flow, it is a downward flow, etc. But in general, there are various 6 categories of fluid flow. But see, the fluid flow concept is clear to you now. Whenever a fluid particle flows from any point to the other point, or its destination point is different from the initiation point, then we say that a fluid is flown. Imagine the fluid flowing from a tap, the water coming out from the tap. It is coming out from the tap, it ends in the basin. It comes out from the tap, it ends in the bucket. So therefore, these are the various types of fluid flows. So one by one, now we are going to see the various types of fluid flows. So fluid flows are classified as, first is steady and unsteady flows. So these are the categorization of fluid flows. So steady and unsteady flows are one categorization. Second is uniform and non-uniform flows. Third is 1, 2 and 3 dimensional flows. Fourth is rotational and irrotational flows. Then fifth is laminar and turbulent flows, which plays a very important role in all the fluid mechanics theories. And last one is compressible and incompressible flows. So see guys, these all 6 parameters, that is 6 categorization of fluid flows, are very, very important. From next points now, we are going to see in detail what are these various types of fluid flows, because it is going to help us for finding out the velocity and acceleration of the fluid particles. So whenever we are learning these types of particular fluid flows, we are going to identify this type of fluid flows in terms of equations. How to write the equations for these fluid flows. So one by one now we will start the study of these types of fluid flows. So first one now is a steady and unsteady flow. So purposefully we have kept the image backward side. After learning the definition, we are going to see the actual equation. Steady flow, the type of flow in which the fluid characteristics like velocity, pressure, density, etc. at a point do not change with respect to time, is known as steady flow. Means what guys, see here that the fluid characteristics are more important in this case. Now what are the fluid characteristics? The fluid characteristics are given here, like velocity is a characteristic of fluid, pressure, density, etc. These are various categorizations or the characteristics of fluid. So during this particular flow, that is the steady flow, if this particular fluid characteristics do not change with respect to time, we can find this equation that if velocity is there, so dv by dt is not changing with time, dp by dt or d rho by dt is not changing with respect to time, then that type of flow is known as steady flow. So you can see the equation here. Dabba u by dabba t equal to 0, dabba v by dabba t equal to 0 in all the directions x, y, z. Dabba w by dabba t is 0, dabba p by dabba t, dabba rho by dabba t is 0, and so on. Various types of fluid characteristics are there, where x0, y0 and z0 is a fixed point in a fluid field where these variables are being measured with respect to time. So what is the example, practical example of this type of flow? The flow through a prismatic or non-prismatic conduit at a constant flow rate, that is Q in meters cube per second, is a steady flow. Now second, unsteady flow, exactly opposite to the steady flow. It is that type of flow in which the velocity, pressure or density at a point change with respect to time. So this will not be equal to 0. You can see here in this equation, all the equations are written same, only the sign this, that is not equal to 0, is mentioned here. Dabba u by dabba t is not equal to 0. Similar, dabba v by dabba t and dabba w by dabba t is also not equal to 0. Dabba p by dabba t and dabba rho by dabba t and so on. These are not equal to 0 because the fluid characteristics are changing with respect to time. So example, the flow in a pipe whose valve is being opened or closed gradually, where the velocity equation which is there, u equal to ax square plus bxt, is actually forming it, or it is applicable to that velocity equation, that actually flow of pipe, we can say that it is an unsteady flow. Then second type of fluid flow, uniform flow and non-uniform flow. Now what does this uniform flow tells us? The type of flow in which the velocity at any given time does not change with respect to space is known as uniform flow. Now see guys, that uniform and non-uniform flow is only related with velocity and space. No any respect with time. There is no any relation with time. So when in this type of flow the velocity is not changing with respect to space, we say that fluid flow is uniform flow. So dabba v by dabba s, s is nothing but the space coordinate where time is remaining constant. So that will be equal to 0, where dabba v is change in velocity and dabba s is the displacement in any direction. What is the example of this now? Fluid through a straight prismatic conduit is an example of this type of uniform flow having always a constant diameter. Then second is non-uniform flow. Exactly opposite to uniform flow. It is that type of flow in which the velocity at any given time changes with respect to space and so therefore we get dabba v by dabba s is not equal to 0. Flowing through a non-prismatic conduit, flow around a uniform diameter pipe bend or a canal bend. We can say that it is an example of a non-uniform flow. Then 1, 2 and 3 dimensional flows. As the name indicates, this type of fluids is related to the dimensioning of the fluids, that is the way in which the fluid is flowing in that particular direction. So out of that, first is one dimensional flow. It is that type of flow in which the flow parameters such as velocity is a function of time and one space coordinate only. Means what? There are three velocities, that is u is velocity in x direction, v is velocity in y direction and w is the velocity in z direction. So one dimensional fluid will only, or one dimensional flow will only say that the fluid is flowing in only one direction. You can see the figure here. Direction is the right hand direction, inlet and outlet is also right hand direction. So only the velocity u will be the function of x, that is u equal to f of x, and otherwise v will be 0, w will be 0. Where u, v, w are velocity components in x, y, z direction. An example is flow in a pipe where average flow parameters are considered for analysis. Second is a two-dimensional flow. So you can directly see that there is a curve because the fluid particles will be moving in another direction also. The flow in which the velocity is a function of time and two rectangular space coordinates is called two-dimensional flow. So in this now you will get x and y directions. So mathematically we have u equal to f1 of xy, v will be equal to f2 of xy, but w will be equal to 0. You can see that fluid can be moved in this rectangular space coordinates, so therefore two directions will be there. So it is known as two-dimensional flow. Flow between parallel plates of infinite extent and flow in the main stream of a wide river is nothing but a two-dimensional flow example. Then three-dimensional flow. It is that type of flow in which the velocity is a function of time and three mutual perpendicular directions. Means here velocity is a function of time. Therefore, we will get a particular value of t here. But t will be constant and therefore the velocity will be there in all the three perpendicular directions. So mathematically we have u equal to f1 x, y, z. V will be equal to f2 x, y, z. W will be equal to f3 x, y, z. What are the examples now here? Flow in a converging or diverging pipe or a channel. Second is flow in a prismatic open channel in which the width and the water depth are of the same order of magnitude is the example of a three-dimensional flow. Then fourth is rotational and irrotational flow. Very basic and simple type of fluid flow. The flow is said to be rotational if the fluid particles, while moving in the direction of flow, rotate about their mass centers, or we can say rotate about their own axis. Flow near the solid boundaries is always rotational. So guys, see that while moving in a streamlined flow, if the fluid particles are naturally rotating about their own axis, we can say that flow is a rotational flow. Example is moving of a or the motion of a fluid or liquid in a rotating tank. And another type is irrotational flow, opposite to that. A flow is said to be irrotational if the fluid particles, while moving in the direction of flow, do not rotate about their mass centers. So flow outside the boundary layer is generally considered irrotational. So always see that whenever the fluid particles are moving in a straight line without rotating about their own axis, then that type of fluid is a irrotational fluid flow type. Flow above a drain hole of a stationary tank or a wash basin. Now there comes a important type of fluid flow, that is laminar and turbulent type of fluid flow. So what is this laminar flow now? A laminar flow is that type of flow in which the fluid particles while moving does not cross each other or move along a well-defined streamline path. This type of flow is also called a streamline flow or viscous flow. Now guys, see in this diagram, we can easily observe that the fluid particles, when it is entering in a pipe, it is going outside of the pipe in the same direction, and there is no any crossing of the fluid particles with one another. So therefore, whenever they are moving in a straight streamline path, that is, they do not change their axis, they do not change their direction, they do not cross each other, they are moving in a straight, well-defined path. That type of fluid flow is known as laminar flow. Examples are fluid flow in a capillary tube, flow of blood in veins and arteries, and third is groundwater flow. The groundwater flow is always laminar. Second is turbulent flow. It is again opposite to laminar flow. A turbulent flow is that flow in which fluid particles while moving cross each other or move in a zigzag way. So they are crossing each other, means the flow is a turbulent flow. High velocity flow in a conduit of large size is an example of a turbulent flow. So you can see that in this diagram, guys, that the fluid particles are moving in this zigzag way, means the upper streamline path will be crossed by the lower streamline path and vice versa. So we can take one example, image example of a fluid flow. Guys, see here that two taps are there having different velocities. So here you can see that the flow of this particular fluid is nothing but a laminar flow. And here you can see that there is a diverging of the jet from the streamline. So we say that there is a turbulent flow. This is an example of a laminar flow and turbulent flow. Another image will show us what is the laminar and turbulent flow. Here you can see this is the flow of a dye from a particular line, or you can say from a particular pipe. So whenever this observes as a straight line, we say that it is a laminar flow, and whenever it is just moving from their axis, diverging from this axis, we can say that type is a turbulent flow. Now these two conditions which we have taken, these are nothing but the visualization techniques, that is flow visualization techniques. But there are certain values which are helpful for us in finding out whether the fluid flow is laminar or turbulent. So let's see the equations. Laminar and turbulent flows are characterized on the basis of Reynolds number. Reynolds number, we have seen that Re is equal to rho Vd by mu, or Vd by nu. It is dependent on dynamic viscosity or kinematic viscosity of fluid, and at the same time it is dependent on the density of the fluid and diameter of the pipe. So if this Reynolds number is less than 2000, directly we can say that the flow in the pipes is laminar. If this Reynolds number is greater than 4000, then the flow in the pipes is turbulent, or the flow is a turbulent pipe. Guys, see that if Reynolds number is less than 2000, flow is laminar. If Reynolds number is more than 4000, it is a turbulent flow. If it is in between 2000 and 4000, it is maybe turbulent or maybe laminar, or it is also known as a transition flow. Transition flow tells us that the fluid is a mixture of laminar and turbulent flow. And last one, compressible and incompressible flow. Now here this compressibility is always dependent on the density of the fluid. So compressible flow. It is that type of flow in which the density of the fluid changes from point to point, or in other words we can say that density is not constant for this flow. So mathematically we have written here that rho is not constant. So what is the meaning of this compressible flow? Compressible flow means that the flow in which the density of that particular fluid is not constant. It is changing with respect to time, it is changing with respect to space. So we say that rho is not constant, and therefore we say that it is a compressible flow. Example is flow of gases through orifice, nozzles, gas turbines, etc. Means all the real fluids are nothing but compressible fluids, and therefore the flow is known as compressible flow. And last point, incompressible flow, exactly opposite to compressible flow. It is that type of flow in which density is constant for the fluid flow. Liquids are generally considered flowing incompressible. That is the ideal condition, ideal consideration in the problem. So mathematically rho is equal to constant. That is the exact opposite here. Rho was not constant in compressible. So in incompressible, rho is constant. Example is subsonic aerodynamics. That is Mach number is very less than 1. We say that that type of fluid flow is nothing but that is the air flow which is having a incompressible flowing nature. So guys, see that in this lecture we have seen Lagrangian approach, how the Lagrangian method is used for finding out the velocity and acceleration of fluid particles. Then Eulerian method, how the velocity and acceleration are found out by considering the various parameters, and the all six categorizations of the fluids, that is steady flow, unsteady flow, uniform and non-uniform flow, 1, 2 and 3 dimensional flow, rotational and irrotational flow, then laminar and turbulent flow, and compressible and incompressible flow. So guys, we are coming to the end of this particular lecture session on basics of the fluid kinematics. In next lecture, we are going to see the other concepts, the further concepts related to this fluid kinematics. Also, we are continuously reminding you that we are running a lecture session on fluid mechanics and fluid and turbo machineries. So we are going to continuously post some lectures based on that up to the end of the systems. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are receiving a massive response from all of you. So we hope for the same in near future. Thank you, and thank you very much for your support in building our YouTube channel. Thank you.